that caucus marked the 1865 date enslaved people in Texas learned they were free. Chair Rep. Napoleon Nelson called it a day to celebrate and recommit to ongoing progress. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Excellent news in Montebello. A terrible wreck. 60 eastbound San Gabriel Boulevard has been cleared out of lanes, but delays are still jammed off of the 710. Even the 710 northbound is slowing from the 60 to the 10 as a lot of people were seeking an alternate, and the 10 eastbound delays and stretches from the 710 freeway all the way into West Covina. And we're also looking at some slow traffic out of Santa Monica, 10 eastbound leaving Cloverfield. You're on the brakes ahead all the way to the 5 and head to Irvine. Northbound side of the 405.
Yo.
From MacArthur and stretches
What up,
towards
Niche?
Brookhurst and Fountain Valley.
Is your concrete cracking? Is your uneven walkway dangerous? Do you need to level that concrete porch or patio? Contact Groundworks, the concrete lifting experts. Riverside, get your
What
free
up?
inspection today. Learn more at groundworks.com.
LA's newest soul food restaurant is getting spectacular reviews.
Great place with amazing food. The Sunday champagne brunch is fabulous. I saw the place on IG. We tried it for lunch. We were blown away by the food and the service. The restaurant has an inviting atmosphere and a dynamic vibe.
Over the years, Lionel has catered most major black events in Los
Herschel,
Angeles.
back in the building.
Our KBLA Talk 1580
What up, Herschel?
Now he has his own spot, Ronell's Soul Food Cuisine, and you need to check it out at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles. Oxtails, baked or fried chicken, meatloaf, turkey chops, pork chops,
What up?
and short ribs, and all the fixins, collard greens, mac and cheese, yams, red beans, black-eyed peas, and more. And of course, hot water cornbread, satisfying drinks, and delicious desserts. Ronell's is a great place for brunch, lunch, or dinner. If it's good enough for us,
Can you guys hear?
it's good enough for you, because we've got your black. So, head on over to Ronell's Soul Food Cuisine at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles and tell Ronell you heard about it on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, and I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light.
Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Hit the like. Hit the like. 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 Hit the 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 like. Chase away evil forces. So long as you bring the offerings.
There is no hate like Christian love, because when love is weaponized, it becomes the sharpest of swords. You've seen the banners. Love wins. God is love. All are welcome here. On the surface, it feels warm and inclusive. But what if I told you that same rhetoric is being used to enforce control, silence questions, and even demand hyper-forgiveness of repeated abuse? Today, we're peeling back the velvet covering to expose how love has become shorthand, not just for care, but for control. Because when they say all are welcome here, what they're often saying is that all are welcome to submit. Are you ready to unpack this? Go ahead and let me know in the comments where you think we're headed with this one. Let's define how love language functions as a tool for conformity and silencing dissent. In many faith communities, love is more than an ideal, it's a brand language. Love rhetoric is the specific use of words and phrases that signal unwritten rules like true love submits, true love waits, true love forgives all. Cast any objection as unloving. If you loved us, you'd comply, and cement group identity under the claim that all unity flows from love. Now, the core components of love rhetoric are universal appeal. Claiming love as a universal good makes it impossible to argue against without seeming heartless. But then there's also emotional authority, framing directives as acts of love. We do this because we care. This sidesteps logical critique. And there's also taboo creation. Once love is invoked, questioning the rule or practice feels like betraying the community's highest value. Some examples of this is we just love you too much to let you stay where you are. Or real love will always correct you, even if it hurts. Only unloving people refuse to see it this way. You just can't see how much we love you. Each of these slogans sound caring until you notice how they demand compliance and punish doubt. Now let's discuss how it silences dissent. Emotional override. When someone claims, I do this because I love you, your emotional resistance drops. You don't want to reject genuine care, even if it's conditional. It also creates moral leverage. Labeling criticism as unloving turns any question into a character attack. You either agree or risk being seen as cruel. And then there's also social risk. Since love is the community's highest value, challenging a love-based rule feels like sacrilege, so most people stay silent. Now that we see how love rhetoric sets the trap, let's unpack how it enforces conformity over community. The objective is to show how weaponized love creates pressure to conform by making dissent feel disloyal. So the core assertion here is when love is wielded as a tool, it functions less like care and more like a command. You either align with the group or you betray its highest value. There are mechanisms of pressure at work here. There's conditional affection, framing care as a reward for compliance. We'll keep loving you as long as you stay within these boundaries. There's also a moral ultimatum, presenting dissent as an assault on the community's moral fabric. If you truly loved us, you'd never question this teaching, which also leads to collective shaming, imprinting group judgment on those who hesitate or object. Look around. Everyone else is on board. Why are you the outlier? I've literally had a pastor say this to me before. A really good textual example to use here is when someone says love means I'm allowed to call out your sin, but also kind of implies that you're not allowed to question them. This is assumed authority. The speaker claims a privileged role. I'm allowed. And it's also selective permission. Othering you is fine, questioning them is not. And then there's also the dichotomy creation. Positions you as either the submissive receiver of love or the rebel. Now, this does have psychological impact. Immediately, there is a fear of loss, worrying that stepping out of line invites withdrawal of affection. There's an urgency to conform, a belief that delay or objection equals betrayal. So you comply.
No, oh Lord, oh Lord, where the organs at, Lord? Oh, in the name of sweet baby Ray's barbecue sauce. That man was cooking. Let me tell you something. Just because there is a book or an established belief or some type of dogma, it does not mean that you are individuated. there are still unindividuated individuals roaming around church thinking that just because they tithe 10%, just because they're dressed to the nines, the tens, and even the 12s, that they have some type of moral right to condescend in the face of other works in progress. Well, I'm here to tell you, this is where the buck stops. We've got to stop calling attachment love. That brother, what was his name? That brother just broke down how attachment seeks to manipulate. All manipulation is control, right? I want to be able to get what I signed up for. I want to be able to get what I desire. Love has it all. Love does not worry about getting it because love already has it. Love is not worried about losing it because love is full perpetually, infinitely. So you hear me say, love and God are synonymous. His name is Durante Lamar, right? Love and God are synonymous, but these are states of consciousness. This is why the ancients always said, hey, you got to climb the ladder to meet God. The consciousness. Not, oh, somebody's going to love me because I was raised in a dysfunctional environment. First off, when it comes to relationships, we don't know the difference between challenging, dysfunctional, and toxic. Are we going to work it out tonight? Oh, tonight's topic. Are you speaking Christianese? Examining sanctified speech as a form of conditional love. Is sanctified speech a conditional love language? Does this love language prevent you from using your own discernment? Does this love language, oh my God, here we go, 1-800-920-1580. A deeper look at how we use religion as a chat GPT for intimate relationships. Now, we live in a world where sacred language is reduced to mere performance. It's going to be okay. Everything is going to work out. Yes. Toxic positivity in the form of encouragement. Let's keep going. Speaking Christianese has become a weaponized conditional love language that shackles discernment and authentic intimacy. We witness a disturbing transformation of divine mystery. We don't know what the divine mystery is. God even told you in the books, his ways are not our ways. God moves in mysterious ways, right? Is that not true? That's what we were taught, right? We witness a disturbing transformation of divine mystery into scripted obedience. Sacred chatter that sterilizes raw emotion and enforces conformity under the guise of holiness. As religious rhetoric transformed genuine vulnerability into transactional exchange. Attachment anxieties and narcissistic pitfalls will begin to emerge, fracturing relationships with spiritual bypassing and enforced submission. Love does not require you to submit. Love does not require you to do anything. So many people have no idea that love is a spiritual practice. Wait, let me pull back. Love is a spiritual practice, and you get to tear love down. I'm sorry. You get to berate and disrespect love because you've never climbed Jacob's ladder. Wait, what are you talking about, Zoe? Yes. Rising up the spinal cord into your crown chakra. It's a level of self-realization. It's a level of nirvana, moksha. They call it self-actualization. That's where love lives. Love does not identify with your wounds. Love does not identify with CPTSD. Love does not identify with your insecure attachment styles. Do you see? Oh, I know people are not ready for it. I know. Tonight's incendiary critique of the tyranny of dogmatic language that encapsulates personal freedom, urging a radical reclamation of unsanctified, unfiltered truth, a defiant call to dismantle the theological dictatorship that makes love conditional and silence a substitute for genuine connection. On tonight's topic, we demand raw, fearless, transformative, emotional rebellion. Get to your phone lines. Is religious relationship advice, for the most part, flawed? Can we take an objective look at the dogmatic, inflexible, and loud and wrong advice for relationships that come out of the church? We just heard the clip. I didn't even know Jill Monroe was going to cook us with that. We just heard the clip from Kirk Franklin. Do we still have it? Can we just play it really quickly? So, yes, we just heard that clip. I'm going to play it again. And I want you to listen very carefully to what the brother Kirk Franklin has to say. Now, I'm not saying that the church intentionally gives bad advice. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there are pastors out there that intentionally lead people in the wrong direction. But what I'm saying is, if the pastor doesn't have a clinical background, you understand what I'm saying? He has to have some. Go with the clip.
A black man that prays and sees a therapist, because I wasn't raised with family, I don't naturally just run to it. It's work for me, being adopted and being the only child. So, there's some deficiencies that I realize I have that I still continue to try to work with in therapy, There's even a taboo about that, Yeah, because a lot of times if you go to therapy, it makes you, and sometimes some communities make you feel like you don't have faith. Yeah. And so all of those nuances and tensions I really want to try to work through publicly on these new platforms that I'm blessed to have.
Here we go. Kurt is on board. Sanctified speak or spiritual slavery? Does our obsession with holy chatter reduce sacred encounters to scripted obedience, thereby denying us the radical freedom of divine mastery? Is equating piety with performance a moral trap that enslaves our capacity for authentic, ethical rebellion? 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines. Get ready. Can the conditioned receipt of love via sacred sound bites underpin attachment anxieties and contribute to identity erosion? What does research on trauma and attachment reveal about the devastating impact of ritualistic religious language on emotional autonomy? The tyranny of speaking Christianese. That's the topic. The tyranny of speaking Christianese, or whatever belief system you believe in. Denying discernment in the name of God. Is the divine gift of discernment sacrificed at the altar of dogmatic conformity, thereby silencing the very spirit of inquiry? How does blind adherence to spiritual correctness foster an intellectual apartheid that stifles dissent and genuine introspection. Here we go. When we come forward, the voice of reason going to the phone lines. The national conversation begins.
Anniversary this year on Juneteenth. Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast. Oh my God! But here we are, still standing, still fighting.
Yo, Herschel.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events
What up, Willie?
invited to all of them.
Everybody hit that like button. Oh, what's up, sir? Good to see you, fam. Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up? Everybody call me. Get on the phone lines if you want to talk. Get on the phone lines if you want to join this discussion. You guys make this a national show. You guys are the reason we are syndicated. All right? I need y'all on the phone lines. I need y'all to talk to me. I need y'all to talk to me. Everybody hit that like button. There's no reason we shouldn't hit the like button. The like is free. Doesn't cost nothing. I don't know who liked it. I don't go back and look at the likes. I don't know if you can even look at the likes. So don't be afraid to hit the like button. At the very least, hit the like button. We're here to support each other. We're here to build this up. Please support in every way you know how. Like, share, subscribe, comment, call in, super chat, cash app, whatever. But find a way to support. If you don't have any bread, you don't have to say, I don't have any bread. There is no admission fee, right? Not even the like button is an admission fee. These are all suggestions on how you can support under your own volition. Herschel in here cooking already. Hey, Herschel, thank you so much for the cash app or the super chats. Thank you so much. Herschel, you gave $100 to KBLA the other day or the other week. You were on the wrong YouTube channel and you gave them $100. And you know what? They ain't said nothing to me about that $100. Not a bit of it. They ain't said nothing about that, bro. And they ain't gonna say nothing. I gotta go in there and be like, hey, who run the YouTube channel? It's just that I only come here when I have to.
Look, I'm just a dog laying on a couch watching you lose your over relationships. And holy, you're all doing this thing where you're training each other like puppies while pretending you're not. You check phones 17 times and call it caring. You guilt trip through concern, slowly isolate partners from friends, then wonder why love feels like emotional warfare. Murray Bowen called this fusion back in the 70s. But here you are, still trying to merge souls like Transformers. Here's what's melding my little dog brain. The most dangerous controllers are the ones who genuinely believe they're the caring ones. You're all simultaneously fighting for freedom while trying to leash someone else, often in the same conversation. When I want something, I just stare until you give it to me. Simple. But you've created this elaborate system where you manipulate through kindness, sulk when your person wants alone time, then get anxious when they don't text back fast enough. I don't know. Maybe boundaries are just not trying to house train other adults, but watching you try to love without managing seems impossible. And honestly, I'm confused as hell.
Man, Dog Man is always on fire. Let me clarify. The voice of reason has to clarify here. I don't think the word is flawed. But if you give the word to broken people will look at the word through the lens of brokenness. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what's happening. Oh, because I'm a preacher, I'm somehow beyond reproach. Have you individuated yet? No. See, getting saved, asking God to come into your heart, Jesus to come into your heart, asking Jesus to be your personal savior, that's just one step. That's just one step. That's the spiritual piece. You've set yourself aside for Jesus's favored, his chosen. Right. You are saved. You belong to Jesus. That's great. That doesn't mean the work of self ends. So, are you telling me your pastor is individuated? And should that be a question that should be asked? Right? You may know the word backwards and forward, but if you're not healed internally, you can weaponize the word. Love is not a tool for manipulation or control. And many pastors, I need the pastors to call in and defend themselves here. 1-800-920-1580. But there is a doctrine of submit and endure. Right? Submit and endure. Let me tell you something. Individuation is hard enough. Spiritual elevation is hard enough. But now I have to look at what's going on in me through the lens of my unhealed self. And then I've got to be instructed on what to do by someone who is equally as broken as I am. Submit and endure. The poisonous gospel of spiritual coercion. Don't tell me you haven't experienced it. I know you have. Do scriptural mandates such as submit to one another, pervert divine love into oppressive power plays that legitimize abusive intimacy. When I come forward, the voice of reason is going to keep cooking with the rarest grease. My on tonight.
Tackling the questions you're afraid to ask and giving you the answers you need to hear. You're inside the voice of reason with Phil Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
What up, y'all? What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Hey, put up an emoji if you feeling tonight's topic. Put up an emoji if you own what I'm on. If you own what I'm on, put up an emoji. Where y'all at? Y'all don't like following instructions. You do in the church? It's a joke. Boom, boom. You do in the church. When that man said, close the door, ushers, close the door. Lock the door. Lock the door. Did they do it? Did they do it? A man asked you to hit the like button. You resistant. The pastor asked you to give 10% of everything you got. You give it. And you're giving out of fear too. Because you use relationship as a spiritual insurance policy. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if it's real or not. But at least I'm paying my monthly spirituality insurance policy. Because if it so happens to be true, I paid. Ooh. Ooh. You right. I'm staying on point. A lot of people don't like to sow seeds. Ooh. Tithing is extremely transactional. Preachers be trying to bang on their sheeps. What up, what up, what up, everybody? I need 2 more people to hit that like button.
Voice of reason. Are you tired of stains stealing your shine? California Cleaners is where you go to rescue your wardrobe. They don't just clean, they elevate. Hand washing, crisp laundry, and precise alterations, all while keeping your wallet happy. Listen, all you gotta do is connect with them in the beautiful city of Inglewood. Whether it's grass-stained jeans, silk that's seen better days, or a hemline emergency before date night, you're on deck with California Cleaners, located at 1326 North La Brea Avenue, Inglewood, California. KPLA Talk 50 to 80. We've got a lot to talk about.
What up, what up, what up? Hey, get to the phone lines. Let's get our callers in here. We got 2 more spaces for callers. Can I get 2 callers? Can I get 2 callers? 2 callers. 2 callers. 2 callers. 1-800-920-1580. That's 1-800-920-1580. 1-800-920-1580. Understanding is key. Fruit. Per the word. Who still wear cool water? What up, young man? You gone?
Not yet.
All right.
Y'all had me thinking you had Kirk Franklin here for real. I'm like, Kirk Franklin came in. Okay.
Jesus walks.
Most people have had that feeling at some time. And if you haven't, there will be a time when you do. When you feel like God is doing a number on you. You either feel it because it can only be explained by God, or you feel it because God could have stopped it and he didn't. He could have changed it and he didn't. He could have made it better and he didn't. And you become disappointed with God. And you feel like he's just killing you. Meaning you just want to die. You're just dying. Either literally or emotionally, or, you're just dying. God, why are you killing me? In the last 24 hours, I've talked to 5 people, 5 different individuals who are dying. That is, who felt like they were unraveling, either emotionally or circumstantially or career-wise, or they were hurting. And God was nowhere to be found. In fact, sometimes it looks like God is toying with you. Because sometimes it looks like it's getting better, then it gets worse. It looks like it's getting better, then it gets worse. Then finally it looks like he answered your prayer, and they ain't not answering your prayer. You feel like he's killing you. Because I'm praying to you, and it's not getting better. You tell me you love me. I don't feel like you love me. You tell me you're going to be with me. I can't see you. And it's getting worse. I'm dying. Why is God killing me? 2 Corinthians 1 says in verse 8, "For we do not want you to be unaware, brethren, of the affliction which came to us in Asia, that we were burdened excessively, beyond our strength, so that we despised the even of life." Wow. How bad was it, Paul? Verse 9, the first line, "Indeed, we have the sentence of death written on ourselves."
Boy, Tony Evans, man, I could have listened to the rest. Tony Evans out here cooking. Let me tell you something. Let's just get deep. The suffering comes from attachment. The attachment comes from the lack of parental attunement. Do you see? This is how relationships become conflictual, right? So then it becomes a tug of war of coping mechanisms. It becomes a tug of war of psycho-spiritual puzzle pieces. We are looking for the wounded piece that fits us. And if they don't fit, we respectfully, in many instances, disregard and discard them. See, the Buddha made it clear. Attachment is the root of all suffering. You're not a healed pastor if you are encouraging couples to stay together in a toxic environment, in a toxic relationship environment. You're not a healed pastor if you say suffer and endure. See, the suffering is internal, right? And these two people are mirroring that suffering, which is why they are attracted to each other. They are attracted to traumatic past patterns. They see that person, that's familiar, that's my norm, that makes sense to my wounds. And then we turn around and label that love. That is not love, that is attachment. The Buddha is famous for saying attachment is the root of all suffering. Isn't it interesting that in the 50s, psychoanalyst John Bowlby said, you know what? Let me create something that was already created before and name it attachment theory. In attachment theory, we got 4 attachment styles, and only one of them is considered healthy, secure attachment. 3 others are insecure, anxious, preoccupied, dismissive, avoidant, and the fearful avoidant / disorganized is a combination of the previous 2. Who raised you? Sometimes you can have 2 parents and you think having 2 parents is success. Not if they're internally broken and you are raised in their environment modeling the way they reconcile differences. I don't know if y'all listening. Everybody wants to besmirch the good name of love, and they've never achieved it. The hypocrisy of holiness, when sanctified speech reinforces narcissism. If your pastor hasn't individuated, how can he guide you? Does the performance of godly language mask a deeper spiritual corruption in which narcissistic pursuits are wrongly held as divine purpose? I mean, Thomas Campbell, former clinical or former physicist turned metaphysician, talked about how in order to raise the vibrational level of unconditional love in your life, you must reduce entropy. His entropy model comes out of physics. The longer a thermodynamic system goes on, the more it begins to decay into disorder. Right? Now, how does that affect? That's attachment. Insecurity, it leads to entropy. Do you see? Oh, I know you're not ready for this tonight. 1-800-920-1580. When I come forward, I'm going to the phone lines. Now, I'm just asking, does it make sense? Entropy, the longer thermodynamic system goes on, the more it begins to break down into disorder. You want to lessen the amount of disorder in your life? You want to lessen the amount of entropy in your life? You have to disconnect from attachment. You have to go through ego annihilation. Your ego is partly formed by your attachment style. I should be saying all of this on radio. See, if you call in and ask, we can do this. Somebody call in and ask me that, because I won't remember. Somebody call in and ask me that, and then I'll go into that a little further. Somebody remind me of that. The opposite of unconditional love is attachment. Attachment leads to entropy.
The problem really, Sai, is can we live a different way?
Here, here. Right.
A different way in which there are no wars, no hatreds, in which man loves man, without competition, without division. We say you are a Christian, you are a Catholic, you are a Protestant, you are this. That's also immature. There's no meaning. It's an intellectual, sophisticated division. And that's not a religious mind at all. That's not religion. A religious mind is a mind that has no hatred, that lives completely without fear, without anxiety, in which there is not a particle of antagonism. Therefore, that a mind that loves. The great Krishnamurti, he's making it simple for you. A religious mind is a mind clear of all conditioning. A religious mind is a free mind, an unconditioned mind. Do you understand? I know people, God, mystery is synonymous with unconditioned. We don't know what it is. God is a mystery at its source. The source lives in you. The identity is very fragile and is formed in early childhood. The opposite of unconditional love is attachment.
If you were raised by works and progress, they could have broken you. And if you have the seed of brokenness in you, attachment leads to entropy. Entropy is disorder, chaos. Oh, wait a minute. I have to maintain it. So now I have to learn coping mechanisms which develop into manipulation tactics in order to convince, cajole, and you can only do that for so long because now you're not healed, so you lack the capacity because you haven't touched unconditionality, right? You don't know what the suchness of God is within you, so relationships become labor. They become laborious, right? Oh my God, I got to deal with this person. Oh my God, I got to show up. You're showing up out of obligation now, and that gets tired. Do you see? Do you understand the entropy? The longer a thermodynamic system goes on in time, the more it begins to break down into chaos, disorder. What that means is if I have a hot cup of tea sitting on my table and I sit it on the table, the tea will cool off. But the energy of the heat doesn't disappear. That's the first law of thermodynamics. Energy is never destroyed. It can only change form. So the heat dissipates, but before it dissipates, it goes into the cup. Then out of the cup into the table. The energy of the heat is still there. You just lost access to it. Oh my God, we lost the spark in our relationship. No, that's entropy. Where there are unhealed people, there will be an entropic influence upon the relationship. Oh, I don't know who I'm talking to tonight. Right? And if you have people in spiritual position and they have yet to individuate, they can pass down some of their brokenness through weaponized spiritual words. Does that make sense? We got callers on the line. Let's get them in here. Let's get them in here now. People want to talk. This is a national discussion. Let's get it. Let's go to Hawaii. My brother, Pastor John, man, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic, brother?
Do I defend myself or what do I do with this?
I don't know if you have to defend yourself.
First call me a pastor. First off, I'm not a pastor.
We know you're not a pastor.
You've also said that I've earned the right to be called a pastor.
Yes, you have.
What do I have to go through to earn that right?
No, because you be on here preaching. You be cooking, brother. That's all.
Well, let me get this cook out the way and get off the phone because I want to hear what everybody else got to say. First and foremost, Tony Evans, if you wasn't listening to a very single word that he was saying about your destruction, because it's necessary. I mean, maybe you don't get it. You live in this world as broken as it is, and you know it's a sick society, but yet you want to still live in it like it makes sense. You don't Christianize your own self into the living that you continually live in, and you're dead doing it.
Keep going. Keep going.
So again, the mysteries of life having something to do with, his word says something to the effect of, count it joy when you fall into these diverse temptations. So how are you supposed to build the capacity to be stronger in the chaos of what you had to live through? Some of us get to the point of a certain age, whereas in something you heard while you was in the church was, you'll understand things better by and by.
By and by. Keep living.
I am at the age of understanding. My understanding's disease. God took me through that tough time to take away the scales, the scars, the madness, the chaos, the rhetoric, the BS that I had to deal with, so I could finally see his face. So forgive me
if y'all want this easy Christian, so-called Christianese life, this soft life of living this world and not go through nothing.
Right.
Something needs to be sparred off of you. Something needs to be ripped away from you.
Oof.
And you don't know what that is. God does, though. So again, let's go back to the capacity there is that you got to build up. And you've been through enough stuff to doggone understand.
Man, I love it, bro. I love it.
Count it, it's yours. And once you have the scales ripped from your eyes and you finally see your Savior, follow it. He's got you. And trust me, within 100% of everything you've been through, you survived it. Let's go.
Let's go. Man, guess what you just did, Pastor John? Yo, we love that, brother. He cooking, man. Straight from Mountain View, Hawaii. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. We're talking about it. Christianese. It could be Muslimese, Islamese, right? Sometimes we get so caught up in the words that we don't understand that the words are symbols for something greater. The famous quote by the Buddha encapsulates the core teaching on attachment. When we become attached to things or people, we create expectations. And when those expectations are not met, we experience disappointment, frustration, or even anger. By recognizing the impermanence of all things and letting go of attachments, we can free ourselves from suffering. I'm here to tell you tonight, every expectation is really, when we come forward, I'll tell you the rest. Ernest, thank you for our one and only Cash App. I appreciate it. Ernest, brother by the name of Ernest, hit us with a Cash App, and we appreciate you for that, good brother. Thank you. Thank you. Phone lines, where we at? Y'all don't want to talk? I can tell you wanted to curse, John, but you don't have to curse to make your point. You're an articulate, intelligent brother. And that's why we love you so much. That's why we love your content, your input. That's why we call you Pastor John. Mountain View with the volcano. I love it. Apropos. And that first hour flew. I love the passion. Can we get those last 2 likes? We got 56 likes and 58 people. 2 people who haven't hit the like button. Can we get it? Every like matters. Every like counts.
You're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend. I can't wait to hear it. This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for community celebration and
Friar John. I love it. Yeah, he be frying.
So you must register in advance at our KPLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event. It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you. I love you guys so much. It's just go out and do it. KPLA Talk, continuing. The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi. Thank you for having our back. Happy anniversary, KPLA. Love you. I'm Joe Williams, the voice of reason. Your relationship is in trouble. I'm going to call. Has your soulmate.
Thank you, Doc.
Black love still exists. What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff? The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How is that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I was like the kid. Is this gonna be a war up there?
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant. Betrayal has been committed. Hit you with a bad watch routine. How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my lips.
Why can't you open up, brother?
Karate man moves on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
So now,
So Williams. Reason and accountability. The voice of reason.
ನೈತಿಕ ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕ ఆధ్యాత్మికం లేక మూడింటి సమ్మిళితమైన స్వరూపమే మానవుడు.
Man is the combination of these three: morality, righteousness, and spirituality.
సత్యం నుండి ధర్మం లేకుండా మానవుడు కాదు.
With truth and righteousness missing, he is no human.
ధర్మం నుండి సత్యం లేకుండా మానవుడు కాదు.
With righteousness and truth being absent, he is no man.
నైతిక ధార్మిక ఆధ్యాత్మికం మూడింటి యొక్క స్వరూపమే మానవుడు.
So man represents the Trinity, the combination of the three: morality, righteousness, and spirituality.
Man, listen. You heard him. You heard his English translator. Sai Baba be cooking. You heard the English translator? If the pastor doesn't contain those things, right? And would that mean that he's subject to giving you bad relationship advice? Narcissistic relationship advice? Spiritually narcissistic relationship advice? Listen, you want to vet out the man you dating. You got your location on. Your location is shared with all your friends, so they know where you at when you on a date. But you won't share your location when you at church. Ooh, you might be in more danger there. I know you don't want me to say it that way. How can Christianese vernacular mask, distort, or sanitize human emotion? When I say sanitize, I mean make it cleaner or easier to digest to people. God hates divorce. So stay no matter what? Is that the answer? This is often weaponized without context. Yes, Malachi 2:16 says God hates divorce, but the verse is about injustice and unfaithfulness, not a blanket command or license to endure abuse or dysfunction. God also hates oppression and suffering. What if the relationship advice, right, deepens the oppression and suffering one is enduring? Submission means letting your spouse lead, even if it's hurting you. Ephesians 5 is often misinterpreted. It begins with submit to one another. Biblical leadership does not mean control or silence. True love never requires self-abandonment. Do you feel like you're abandoning yourself in order to keep a thing going? that's only got one wheel when it's supposed to have four? Do you remember hearing Republican politicians talking about how their wife is required to vote, how they tell them to vote under their Christian leadership? Are you speaking Christianese? Examining sanctified speech as a conditional love language. How does sanctified speech function as a conditional love language that both empowers and confines personal discernment? In what ways do ritualized spiritual expressions validate and or suppress in our innate capacity to question authority, divine, interpersonal, or institutional? How does the deliberate use of Christian vernacular to frame emotions shape a sanitized narrative that disconnects people from authentic suffering? Where does God-given discernment align or conflict with relational expectations that demand spiritual conformity? Where there is an attachment, there will be an expectation. Expectation is just a fancy word for lack. When you ascend to the consciousness level that is called unconditional love, lack doesn't exist. See, it's set up for you to ask because you're in your little g season. The scripture says, ask and ye shall receive. Knock and the door will be open. Seek, right? It's ask, seek, knock, right? ASK. When you are asking, you are not in your divine godhood. Oh yes, Jesus told you about your divine godhood when the people tried to stone him in the book of John. Hey, why are you trying to stone me? Many great works I have done. Why would you want to stone me? Because you say you are God. Jesus had to remind them of their own book. Isn't it written in your book that I have said ye are gods? And if the word came from God, then how can the word be broken? See, individuation gets you closer to self-realization, self-actualization. The ancients called it by many different names: nirvana, moksha, enlightenment, whatever term you want to use. That will raise you to a level where you understand, wow, my ego is tiny and basically insignificant. When you are broken, you are needy. When you are needy, you are expectant. I know you don't want to hear it put that way, but I got to tell you the truth tonight. When people equate sanctity with worth, what emotional or psychological costs emerge regarding vulnerability and autonomy? Man, I got people on the line. People want to talk. Let's get them in here. Attila, Houston, Texas. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic? What up?
Nothing. I was thinking about one of the questions that you just asked. I think you were asking, like, why, what was it? Why people that rely on conditional love languages for, like, their emotional verbiage, whatever.
Whatever.
I can't remember. I couldn't remember what you said. But anyway, it kind of made me think of three different things, right? Why you would rely on that? Well, number one, because you can explore gray areas without having to learn and to, like, basically appreciate yourself and appreciate self-love. Because you're masking as a secure person. And then number two, I was saying that this way they don't have to build capacity either. I think we talked about that earlier
Yes.
with Dr. Michael Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't have to worry about building capacity or the ability to handle certain things if I'm masking as secure. But I think that was it. So, yeah.
Masking secure is crazy work. And a lot of us do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, I think of it like, what did we talk about recently? We're talking about going to work and you're like kind of code switching. You could think of it as like, I don't know, like emotional, spiritual code switching. Like within the context of a relationship.
That's heavy work. That's crazy. Emotional code switching. How would that work? What does that look like? Talk to me.
Well, again, like I said, if I'm masking as secure, or I'm giving off the idea that maybe I don't have any issues, especially if you think about like the narcissistic codependent dynamic, in those first, few months or whatever the case, like I believe narcissistic people are able to basically shroud themselves as someone who is healthy or emotionally available or whatever the case may be, but it doesn't last very long, right? So I feel like the code switching works in the same way. Like people basically will be able to mask themselves as something that they're not, but you can only do that for so long, right? Which is why a lot of these relationships end.
Oh, I love my niece, man. She be in there cooking, boy. Cooking with the rarest grease. Come on, give me some more jewels. I love the jewelry. Give me some more.
I don't really have a whole lot of. I did write an agree or disagree question.
What is it?
You tell me what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Sanctified speech is seen as evidence of growth for religiously unhealed people.
Wow. True or false?
Agree or disagree, true or false? Yeah.
Wow. That's heavy. Say it again. I want them to hear it one more time.
I'll say it one more time. So sanctified speech is seen as evidence of growth for the religiously unhealed.
Listen, just because you talk sanctified doesn't mean you internally walk sanctified. Do you see?
To make people shout, though, that's seen as a certain level of anointing, right?
That's a performance.
Is evidence.
Yeah.
But Christ also says that your gifts come without repentance.
Ooh.
So
Keep going.
I can still be messing up and still have the gift. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just say, I think that's why a lot of us get played in the church. And our relationships mirror that. In the same way that you can judge someone for supporting a pastor that you find despicable, that's exactly what people do in their relationship. You stay at the church, you stay in the relationship.
And Attila, just like you said, I'm staying on point, is in alignment with you. Her comment in the chat, she said, spitting the scriptures can be considered as an anointing.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
But again,
prophecy. There's so many different prophecies of the big one. Oh my God.
Yeah. No, but again, spiritual performance. It's starting to look a lot like what the narcissist does with cognitive empathy. I can perform spirit.
I would say it's very similar to that. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Do you understand what I'm saying? And all I'm saying is hurt people live in every religious belief system. And they seek to use the high-minded spiritual language to do what? Do they weaponize it to do what? To manipulate, to extrapolate something from people, whether it's money, attention, praise, adoration, validation. Is this not a problem? I wasn't being rhetorical, niece. I'm talking with you like we on the phone.
I'm just listening. Like, it's definitely a problem. Like, this is the thing. Like, if you're supposed to be leading a flock, so to speak, right? Like, how are you leading a flock if you're also consumed by, how would I say, like, if I'm supposed to be anointed and I'm supposed to have a certain knowing or knowledge higher than other people, how am I still in their types of messes? Doesn't make any sense. Like, if you're portraying yourself as you're supposed to be somehow spiritually attuned, I guess you could say, with God more so than anybody else. That's how it's portrayed.
You mean
And
like
why
the
are you in human methods? Like, what's
you
wrong
mean
with that?
you mean like the married pastor that used to try to hit on my mom and always make house calls
You
to
know
talk?
what I'm
Are
saying?
you talking about him?
Yeah. How are you in human methods? How are you in very human methods as an anointed? It's no disrespect, because I mean, I get it. Like, people, you can be gifted and imperfect. Completely
Yes.
understand. But I think some of the stuff we're seeing, I don't know.
Man, let me just say this, niece.
Anyway.
I love the fact that you came in here with a flamethrower, ready to lay them down with that heat. Guess what you just did, ma'am?
Yeah. Right, you in the building?
Houston, Texas is on the board. Do you want to get your city on the board? All you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. We on fire tonight. Let's keep it cooking. Hey, Attila, hey, y'all don't know. Hey, Attila, hey, y'all don't know, man. Attila don't be playing. Just kicking it with y'all tonight. What up, Davey Lee? Call in, Davey Lee. At least I can rely on my good brother, Davey Lee, to bring the sticks back into the building. But no, take your time and hear what the topic is, because it is fire. How's everybody doing? Is everybody enjoying the topic tonight? Put up an emoji. Tell me what you think. Where is Nikki? I don't know. We got like 15 topics in rotation.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive webinars. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free.
our renunciation should be a matter of internal growth. The Buddha called us ordinary people the childish. And the whole path was about maturing, about growing up. Because, you know, if you have small children, I mean, all of those who are parents, they know. If a child gets what it wants, it's happy, happy, happy. And if it is in any way thwarted or frustrated, then it is enraged, so upset, so absolutely showering of tears. But we know, this is just a child. Children are like that. They cannot manage their emotions. It's natural for a child to be happy when something goes right and be totally distressed when something goes wrong. Fine. But the problem is that meantime, we grow up, we get older, outwardly, we mature and then age, but inside, we are still infants. Something happens which pleases us, happy, happy, happy. Something goes wrong, inside, but outside, of course, you have to be calm. So the point is that we have to really look at our minds to see not only how we are in a beautiful environment when everyone is friendly and kind and everything goes how we would wish it to go, but how we respond in difficult situations also. We'll do this later.
Man, is that Tenzin? I love her work, man. Tenzin is on fire. Clearly, she's a Buddhist. And if you know anything about Zoe Williams and the Voice of Reason, you understand I'm pulling from all religions. I love them all. I support them all. I believe in them all. I believe in the ultimate truth contained within them all. But she talked about spiritual adults. And oftentimes, we will elevate a person because of their status in society. Oh, well, this is the pastor. But that doesn't mean that that pastor is individuated. To me, I have to quote Krishnamurti here. Krishnamurti said, a man who hasn't reconciled himself should not be standing in front of children teaching. He was talking about teachers. The book that he has, that he said that in, is called Education and the Significance of Life. And he was saying, if you have a teacher in front of students, well, you can see the roots of attachment theory in that. Many people will, start in the 50s with John Bowlby, but attachment theory goes back to the Buddha. Right? Buddha believed that attachment is the root of suffering. He said, beings are caught in the strands of desire and attachment. Desire is expectation. Desire is lack. Expectation is lack. He said, they are caught like spiders in their own web. The wise cut through these bonds and slip out of their suffering without a backward look. What I'm trying to tell you is non-attachment is equivalent to unconditional love. Many of you are attached. Attachment leads to suffering. Now, because you're attached, mainly insecurely attached, you are a manipulator. Let's just own it. So if you're going to get advice from someone, they should be individuated to some degree. They should be outside, or at least have some internal victories. You guys hear me talk about internal victories. At least they had to have gone to war with themselves to conquer dark aspects of their own character. Attachment is the source of all suffering. One should discard attachment to be happy. Attachment is another name of disappointment and pain. To be free from suffering, free yourself from attachments. Nothing ever belonged to you. Attachment leads to jealousy. This is all the teaching of the Buddha. Non-attachment is equivalent to unconditional love. I don't own you. This is why Krishnamurti said, I love you, but I don't want a thing. Do you see? This is why we have a misconception of what love actually is. This is why we can go to another wounded person and think that they have the key, right? Or the answer to a problem that emanates from within us. In other words, we are the question and the answer, but we go to external sources. When I come forward, the voice of reason shall continue cooking.
On KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Hayden with BIA News Now. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signed a $55 billion balance budget for the 7th year in a row. It includes $40 million for a sports complex at Proviso West High, backed by Black House Speaker Chris Welch.
If helping Proviso in the region that I grew up in is going to cost me an election, I'm willing to do that.
Republicans call it favoritism. The plan also raises taxes on tobacco, vaping, and online betting. A bust of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has quietly been removed from the Oval Office with no official...
Yes. Yeah. Yes. The deacon is here.
And Dolphins wide receiver Tyranny Olympic champ Noah Lyles this weekend as planned in New York City. Lyles canceled for personal reasons. If BIA News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers.
My sister Tapped In is in the building. So grateful to have you in here, sis.
But here we are, still standing, still loving, serving our people as best we can. To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them. On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice plus Black Health Symposium. Satisfied will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work. On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend. This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos. And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Tyranny with a luncheon to follow.
So, Brother Zoe. Brother Zoe.
Huh?
Still coming in on Juneteenth. We're not all going to team. If you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
It was confirmed today. You know what I'm saying? Because Deborah was asking me questions about Juneteenth if I was still going to be here in the office after everything. And I'm thinking, I'm like, y'all. I'm like, we didn't get no official email.
What day is that?
This Thursday.
Oh, that's fine.
Just give you a heads up.
Oh, yeah,
You know
I'm
what
good.
I didn't even know. I thought like maybe we would have been off. I was over here preparing, you know what I'm saying, best does and shit like that. I got the confirmation that we still coming in. You know what I'm saying?
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what that does for me?
What?
Let me tell you why that's good for me.
Yeah.
I don't have to be at none of them events.
I feel you. I mean, you can go early.
Nah. That's a listen. That's a normal day. No, I had the headphones on. I was literally listening and looking and working. He might be working. I'll ask him.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Soul. H to the OB. I used to move snowflakes by the up. I guess even back then you can call me CEO of the ROCO. Fresh out the frying pan into the fire. Be the music man's #1 supplier. Flyer than a piece of paper bearing my name. Got the hottest chick in the game wearing my chain. That's right. Not DOC, but similar to the letters. No one can do it better. Cheddar like the food inspector. My homie Strick told me do finish your breakfast. So that's what I'ma do. Take you back to the view with the Lexus. Fast forward the shoes and the neck. Let me tell you dudes what I do to protect this. Shoot at trackers like movie directors. Say the movie, dog.
That's called love. If I do something for you and I expect it back, that's called a transaction.
Come on.
That's business.
Come on.
That's a contract.
Come on.
I don't want to have a contract with someone I love. So why would I be measuring them based on how they do the exact same thing back for me?
The Voice of Reason live on KBLA Talk 1580. You already know what it is. I'm out here wilding with this topic tonight. My niece, man, she be in the kitchen cooking. What's that Migos record? Stir fry? Women like a stir fry. Well, I can't do Migos. But before I get back, because we got callers on the line, before I get back to the topic, I just want to remind everybody that our KBLA Talk 1584th anniversary events are fast approaching. Okay, and seating at all 4 of our special events is getting tight. Have you registered at our KBLA1580.com website? If not, let me encourage you to stop whatever it is that you're doing and do that right now, so you don't get left out. It's really that simple. I don't want you to get left out, okay? It's our 4th anniversary, and we want to celebrate it with you. If you're planning to join us for our 4th anniversary celebration and barbecue on the Juneteenth holiday, we're asking everyone to bring a food gift card of any amount for the victims of the Altadena fire. Grocery store chain or restaurant, doesn't matter. We're grateful for whatever you can bring to help the families still displaced by the wildfires. So go to our KBLA1580.com website right now and sign up for the events that you plan to attend. All of our anniversary events are completely free, but seating at all of them is limited, and you must register. All right? I appreciate everybody for listening to that public service announcement. Now, back to the topic. It's a heavy topic. We live in a society that has misinterpreted love. Love at its highest form is synonymous with God. I always say that. Love and God are synonymous. Love is not something you can manipulate. The human mind is set up for manipulation. Why? Because it's a pattern-making machine. And where you understand patterns, when you are able to understand patterns, you see opportunity. For many of us, our relationships are opportunities. Oh, I know you don't want to hear it put that way. Love don't want nothing. Love doesn't need nothing. Love doesn't have expectations. Oh, hold on. I know you didn't hear me say, yes, I said it. Love doesn't have an expectation. Love doesn't have an expiration date. Your wounds have all of that. And you keep your wounds alive by giving them supply in the form of relationships that are handpicked by your wounds to sustain their existence. This is why in the spiritual realm, when you're dealing with the metaphysical beliefs, systems, what do they say? Oh, ego death, ego annihilation. Get outside the little g and come into the reality of the big G. The highest form of love, everybody agrees, is unconditional. Well, let's look at this. There's a term I want you guys to align with your understanding of God. There's a word. The word is ineffable. I-N-E-F-F-A-B-L-E. Ineffable. Whenever you think of God, think ineffable. Say it with me. Ineffable. Or do it like, what was that show? Was it Sesame Street? No, it wasn't Sesame Street. It was the Electric Company, right? Ineffable. 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 Do you know what the definition of that is? Too great or extreme to be expressed or described in words. That's God. God is synonymous with love. The highest form of love is unconditional. Many people have never experienced unconditional love. Why? Because they live in an attachment style. Do you understand? And I would argue that the majority of people are in insecure attachment styles. And as you've heard on this show, insecure attachment styles develop ways to manipulate people to give them what they didn't get in childhood. Well, how does that align with the topic? That could be your pastor. And then you have to deal with the traditional lens of it. Has the church been teaching you to suffer in a dysfunctional situation? I keep telling you, the suffrage is internal. It deals with your origin. You shouldn't have to stay, on an unlimited time frame in a toxic relationship. Once the toxicity is mirrored back to you and it is triggered in your subconscious and you go, wow, I'm triggered this way. Now let me go do the work so I don't attract this mirror again. If words cannot fully capture the divine, does sanctified speech reduce the mysticism of God to the mechanical or the transactional? That's what your wounds, that's why expectations are needed by your wounds. If they can fill the expectations, if they can meet my needs. How much of religious language arises from direct experience rather than social conditioning? Can spiritual vocabulary create the illusion of transformation while egoic patterns remain unchanged? Where there is a pattern, there will be attachment. Does speaking in tongues represent a mystical gift or a metaphor for confusion between revelation and repetition? I'm asking. When I come forward, I'm going to the phone lines. We're ready to cook.
Grass-stained jeans, silk that's seen better days, or a hemline emergency before date night. You're on deck with California Cleaners, located at 1326 North La Brea Avenue, Inglewood, California.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds. Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things.
What you ooping about, niece?
Of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis Pixaban tablets reduce stroke risk.
Niece, what you ooping about? What happened? Who has said what?
A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3%.
Oh, Jack is cooking. I love it. Keep cooking. What do you guys think of tonight's topic? I really want your honest opinion. And for the people who have crept over to my Cash App, thank you. I appreciate it. I think we got 2 Cash Apps. Thank you.
A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a whole lot to talk about. KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle education.
Rev L. Ratchet dropped a Cash App. Thank you, Rev L. Ratchet.
Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You know you want some more. unless somebody's love language is the same as mine, why am I trying to love you the way that I want to be loved? I can tell you how I want to be loved, and you can follow those directions. I need to figure out, like we just talked about, how you like to be loved, because it's probably different. And I'm fooling myself if I think I already know how you want to be loved.
I feel like I'm in therapy right now because the way I give love is not the way I expect to receive it, and that is something I need to think about later on after this. No, I don't give love the way I want it. No, I don't. That's really unacceptable. I give love the way I want you to have it.
How do you know that? How do you know how they want to have it?
I give love how I want you to have it, not how you want to have it. That's the therapy session right now because
Oh, we can't listen to her no more. My goodness. I'm triggered. The voice of reason, man. Oh, my goodness. Live from KBLA. You already know what it is. From the heart of Lamert Park, Little Africa Town. I got that phrasing from the legendary Dominique DePrima. I love the way she says that. Yeah, she says that. From the heart of Africa Town. I love it. Man, we got callers on the line. Let's get them on right now. JWSC, South Central Los Angeles. You already know what it is. J-Dub, we up against the clock, brother, so I need you to keep it short and sweet. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Yeah, man. I was busy multitasking, but something triggered me when you speaking to me, and it kind of confused me because I believe the conversation was based on a minister that's supposed to achieve a particular level of spirituality. That's not the term you guys use, but then I believe Steve said something about why is he still having issues with like common things that I guess his flock will be having, and he's supposed to be at a higher level. And it made me think about something I seen on the History Channel the other day. It was talking about Samson. And at that point in time, I didn't realize Samson was one of the judges in the book of Judges, you know. And what made Samson unique, of course, everybody knows the story about his long hair, and that was his strength. I didn't tie this into everything about the minister. The point is, it seems contrary to some points that you made about accepting people as they are, because Samson, even though he was a judge, which he had to, I guess, have a special qualification to be a judge in general, but he was even more special than all the other judges, because God gave him that strength. But don't cut your hair, but the light of his teeth gowns, which he placed in his ability to have him what's that, thoroughness, another word I'm looking for, but anyway, or weakness. And so, why can't a pastor, even if he is anointed or he achieves a higher level or liberal, and I'm not saying he's got that type that's manipulating, he's got the manipulating type. Why can't he be able to be held accountable when he's just a common human being? He's able to fall just like anybody else.
Right.
Follow my point?
No, I got you. And I got to push forward now because we're up against it. But I appreciate you, J-Dub. And you already know you got a seat at the table, man. You brought South Central Los Angeles in the building. We got Nikki from the SIP, Nikki from Mississippi. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic, lady? Lady Deaconess?
Brother John and Sam, just remember, when we go to God's house, whichever one you serve, including the ministers, they're seeking something. We are seeking something as parishioners. If we are not clear on what we are seeking, then that makes us more susceptible to the development of Christianese. Because as the person in the pulpit, what's supposed to happen when they get in that place, that anointing that they have between them and God is supposed to be what operates.
Right.
But if they're not clear about what they're seeking, then it may not be that. So when it comes to the people in the pew, if you're not clear about what you're seeking, then you won't recognize what you're looking at.
Wow.
And then we get to Christianese.
Mm-hmm.
So food for thought.
Come on, Nikki.
Make sure that you understand what you're seeking when you go to the place with you and your God.
That's clear. Nikki, guess what you just did?
Sure. I'm just saying, I love you. I brought the sip in the building.
We love Nikki from the SIP. I wish you'd have called in earlier because I know she's got more, but we love you. We love you. We love you. Thank you for the wisdom. She always gives us food for thought. Listen, I'm going to say this. I start the conversations. It's really up to you to finish them. All right. These are conversations where dialogue is encouraged. And that's why I open up the space for anybody to say what they need to say. But again, we can't engage in these conversations from a judgmental, rigid space, right? Tonight's topic, we tried to talk about Christianize as a way to spiritually bypass the actual work. In many contemporary Christian spaces, particularly within evangelical and charismatic subcultures, relationship counseling has become less about healing and more about harmonizing one's dysfunction with Scripture. Rather than addressing psychological complexity or systemic trauma, many spiritual advisors offer doctrinal answers to existential wounds, confusing moral certainty with therapeutic efficacy. Under the banner of biblical guidance, we find a troubling trend. The outsourcing of relational, emotional, and even neurological crisis to an outdated theology of compliance. Nowhere does this distortion manifest more accurately than in what might be termed as spiritualized codependency, where sanctified speech reinforces dysfunctional patterns by cloaking them in divine approval. This occurs when couples are told that prayer heals all wounds, submission softens the man, or God restores marriages if you just stay faithful. On the surface, such statements may sound virtuous. Beneath them lies a dangerous assumption that relational problems stem from spiritual deficiency rather than unprocessed trauma, unmet childhood needs, or incompatible psychological wiring. This is not just a matter of theological disagreement. It is a clinical failure. All right? So listen, again, I start the conversation. It's up to you to finish it. I'm the voice of reason. Guess who's going to be back here tomorrow with another barn burner of a topic? You guessed right. Zoe Williams, the voice of reason. And don't forget, go to our website, kbla1580.com. Go there right now and register for our events. The seats are limited, but you got to go to the website and register. Yes, all four events over the weekend are free, but the seats are limited. Go there now. I'm the VOR. I'll see y'all tomorrow with another slapper. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Deuces.